This is could be the first book of its kind. P.G. Woodhouse was one who was a great influence on me. I still love reading his books, and I must have gone through many of them many times. So then every time you pick it up, you end up laughing. I really enjoy comedy movies. I was about to be badly mauled when Rescue came in time. So this is something which I think my granddaughter and all have picked up. So she does it quite often to me. So, so these are small pleasures in life. I think we shouldn't forget that life is all about being happy and enjoying things rather than being glum, sullen, and brooding all the time. Maybe once I got the third prize or something, but never won it.
A police officer is supposed to be stoic, stern, and serious person with a constant frown across his face. This is the stereotype created through cinema and books. But in real life, we have people like Mr. Prakash Mishra, who, despite being an IPS officer, DGP of a state, and a paramilitary force, has had a funny bone. He has written a book whose name is self-explanatory, Comedy in Khaki, the humorous memoirs of a policeman. Only Mr. Mishra could have discovered such a thing. Let's find out the real face of this author. A warm welcome to Indian Masterminds, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you, Sharad. It's a great pleasure talking to you.
Sir, my first
yes.
question to you is, no one in uniform has ever written on this subject. Everyone has written about their thrilling adventures. How did this novel idea dawned upon you?
Well, I think it was a long process. After my retirement, I suddenly, just to fill up the void of doing nothing, I started writing, and I wrote one piece which came to my mind. The first one was on the chapter Shikar. You have gone through the book.
Yeah.
Right. So I wrote that, and then found that it was not only interesting writing it, but also very nice to recollect events of the past and then pen it down. So then a lot of people started suggesting that you should keep on writing. So I started remembering things of the past and gradually put it to shape. There was also a demand to write proper autobiography or something on from the work sphere, but I wasn't very inclined to go into that because I always thought that nobody would be really interested in knowing about what I did in controlling crime or chasing Naxals. I think those are things which are part of every policeman's life. So there's nothing so unique or gay about it. So this was a subject which I think endeared me, and I started writing, and then it took a long time, but I could complete, and then finally came out in the shape of this book.
So you have had adventures of a different kind, from chasing dogs to horses and men, both senior and junior. Very different type of experiences.
Yeah, actually, Sarath, if you look at life, I think even small instances can be looked at in different angles. I always found a lot of pleasure in finding some kind of humor in everything, some kind of cause to laugh, cause to smile, rather than be glum and unhappy. So my friends and all had termed me quite mischievous in school and even in the police academy. So that streak in me, I think, remained. Of course, I didn't bring it out while doing my work, but while observing, I could get that sense of comedy and everything, and keep myself alive and.
Having occupied such senior positions, you don't look like such funny person.
No, I think you don't have to look. You have to have a mindset. I think that's what all.
And you also seem to have a
There
very
are
good
quite a
memory.
few, I think, in government service who have this kind of streak. I have read a few of one Mr. Away, I forget his name. He writes extremely well. He's from the IAS. I think his blogs and all are really. I think he has maybe a much better way of putting things. But so there are a lot of people who do this. But I think, as you said, I am not very sure, but this is could be the first book of its kind. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
But you also seem to have very good memory, remembering an event that took place about 50 or 60 years ago, that too with such minute details, is really laudable. Did you use write diaries regularly?
No, no, I didn't. In fact, the instances which appeal to you in a particular way, I think, stay long in your memory. I think this is something which these are happy memories which you don't forget. So once I sat down and recollected, I think these things came in a gradually they started coming into your mind, and then I started putting them down in black and white.
You have beautifully written about the small incidents which we are often ignore in our daily life, treating them as
Mm,
trivial, like a
yeah,
dog chasing a man or a horse dislodging its rider. But you have
yeah.
presented these everyday events in such a way that each line evokes laughter. How did you manage that?
Uh, I don't know. I think something that just came to me. In fact, in my college days and all, I was greatly influenced by the writings of P.G. Woodhouse. I think you must have read his books.
Yes, yes, yes,
So,
yes.
that had a great impact on my, and maybe that prompted me to take up a style where you could evoke laughter uh, I think
Yeah, in
that
fact,
he
that is
also
what
had
I
that.
wanted to ask. I
Yeah,
wanted to ask exactly that. That did you
yeah.
have an interest in comics and funny literature since childhood?
I think P.G. Woodhouse was one who was a great influence on me. I still love reading his books, and I must have gone through many of them many times. So then the every time you pick it up, you end up laughing, and being so happy. So it was just an attempt to do something in the Indian context. So I
आपको कॉमेडी मूवीज भी पसंद थी या अमिताभ बच्चन टाइप एक्शन मूवीज के फैन थे?
no, I really enjoy comedy movies, not the serious types. The comedy movies, obviously the good type of comedy, not the slapstick kind of thing, but the one
Yeah.
which has humor in it. So
Any favorite?
not really that I can recollect, but Chupke Chupke, then Golmaal. I think those kind of movies I think had Father of the Bride. I think these are movies which really. Uh,
Were you a student of literature in college?
no, my subject was economics, and but once you are in service, you forget about your college studies and get into something else. That is the
But
system that.
as an IPS, one normally reads what normally one gets to read is Roj Namcha, crime reports, law and order situation, investigation reports. So there's hardly any literature in that. But the kind of literature you have churned out, it's really laudable.
Thank you. I think I never thought that it would be so appealing to all of you. It's a great honor to hear that you liked it. In fact, the book has just come out. I think it was released yesterday only. So I'll start getting more feedbacks. And for an author, I think the best part is if your readers enjoy your work. So
But you have a very stern, stoic appearance. Don't look like a mischievous person. But in the book, you turn out to be a very mischievous person. So how did this duopoly remain in you for last 60 years?
if you have read the first chapter, I think I start with um, my philosophy that you have to be happy, you have to laugh. I always try to create such situations where one would be happy and laugh at even small things. So that remained with me, and in fact, it takes out your stress to a large extent. In fact, if you read the book, especially the hard training that we had, and the kind of you have a cantankerous boss at times. So if you are glued down by his antics and suffer all through, I think your life is miserable. So you have to get out of it through such means of looking at small things and finding pleasure. In fact, in my Katak days, I think it starts with a very bad boss and how I manage the situation by getting
The
into.
deputy SP and DIGs.
Yeah, right. So
The DIG who sat on a commode and it broke.
yeah.
That was really funny. So, in your service days, except for that one US episode, have you ever done a bhog on anybody?
uh, yeah, I think there's another reference in the book about one that misfired. I did something like that to
Yes,
three
some
who were
drug
just
infused colleagues.
drugged, and I was about to be badly mauled when rescue came in time. I think so. This is something which I think my granddaughter and all have picked up. So she does it quite often to me. So, so these are small pleasures in life. I think we shouldn't forget that life is all about being happy and enjoying things rather than being glum, sullen, and brooding all the time. So the best is to laugh and be happy as much as you can, till as long as God gives you good health and good surrounding. That's about all.
People who have not read your book, can you please narrate this small incident which happened in US when you startled those the one US policeman who was being bossy with you?
Yeah, and in fact, it was a very long training. I think for about 3 months. So, and it was peak of winter in the east coast of US. It was very close to Washington D.C., in the state of Virginia. So, bitterly cold. I think that year was one of the worst winters in USA. So I think after the initial euphoria of being in US was gone, and then you start longing for your home food, your family, and your friends. So and the training was also quite. It was quite good. It had elements of outdoor, like they used to take us out for long runs, about 10, 12 kilometers, in that snowy roads. So, so we had a hostel accommodation where we shared rooms. My roommate was one Bill, um, and the other room was by two other Americans, and we had a common toilet. I think all four of us used to go to one toilet. So Bill was the most senior most, I think, of all of us, and a very nice person. And he used to make coffee for us in the morning every day, wake us up, and then used to lord over us, go to the laundry, go to start reading. You'll fail. The people in India will throw you out if you fail here. So this kind of thing he kept on telling us. So one day we thought of experimenting this. So the other two and I, we entered into a grand conspiracy, and when Bill had gone to get the laundry, so I got into the wardrobe and waited for him. So he and once he opened the door, I just went out shouting some bow or something. So
You were
it was.
hiding inside the
I was
cupboard.
inside the cupboard. Yes. So So I think he was brushing his teeth. He had a toothbrush in his mouth, and he just couldn't really conceptualize what was really happening. So he jumped back. Once I came out, he saw me. He again jumped back and fell on the bed. So and then
And
he finally,
almost swallowed the toothbrush.
yeah, he started. Then he took out a toothbrush and said that you would have killed me. I was about to swallow the toothbrush. So after that, wherever he went, his family came for that graduation ceremony. So he introduced me to them, saying that he looks so innocent, but be very careful. He jumps out of wardrobes.
And so, does that inspection for feast practice is still continuing in Odisha?
Which one? Inspection for?
Feast means going for good food.
Now I
The
think
senior
those
officer.
days are gone. I think people people hardly go and stay in rural areas. That's one. I think nobody goes to a subdivision, makes a night halt. Even if he makes, I think the current generation are more interested in not too much food oriented. I think they might be a big bite and come back. Things have really changed. I think that the kind of environment that we started is totally missing now. The district life is totally different. In fact, I remember we were a very close-knit family: the collector, the SP, the district judge, the executive engineer, the CDMO. We all in fact, moved
We
like
used
a
to be like
family.
a family.
Yeah, it was more like a family, and if the younger officer joined, he used to go and call on all these officers. Those things are absolute things of the past. I think not only in Odisha, I think all over the country. So that is something which is missing. So with that, I think all these glory of senior officers coming and lording over inspections and all, that is also gone. I think inspections. Um, I I think that's something which every civil servant should go through. It is it was
The
really,
inspection thing or being inspected.
yeah, being inspected. You get to know the idiosyncrasies of your bosses and how they behave, how they. So, in fact, it helped you a lot in shaping your own personality. Whether if you didn't like what he was doing, you take a stand. Either do this. So that kind of thing came into you. So you
Yeah,
might be
there's
having,
a
I think, and a few of them might be still existing, but I think that kind of tribe is gradually fading away. Mm.
Yeah, let me tell the audience. Sir has written about officers who used to go on inspection trips to rural areas, small towns, and used to be treated with lot of feast, means 30, 35 dishes, 40 dishes, and they used to eat and then have proper rest. So inspection used to be secondary. The primary thing used to be the food. So that is what I'm talking about. But
Mm.
when you were the DGP, so
Yeah.
did you still witness that practice or did you put a stop to that?
Well, at the lower level, it might be going on because at the senior level, I think things have changed. But if you have a inspector going to a police station or a DSP going to a police station, it could be still the same. So, but this is something which is, I think, part of the. Yeah, in fact, nobody has made any attempt to stop it because it has been going on long time. But naturally, the scale and yeah has definitely must have gone down by now.
Hmm. So you have also written about the police officers' physical meets, means sports
Yeah.
meets, and those
Yes.
used to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Right.
How people used to take positions to run, and some one of them,
Yeah.
the
In fact,
PSP.
the sports was a very serious affair. In fact, you were aware, Sharad, that the police body generally has large contribution to the sports here. A lot of players in football, hockey, and even in athletics and all come from the police. So the police sports was a great affair where you had very serious athletes from all ranks performing. But on the last day of the sports in Odisha, we had a thing which was more for fun. That was called the Gazetted Officers Race. It was a 100-meter race where you were supposed to run. That is to the last event where everyone would be gathered, and so the idea was that you get into the run with whatever you are wearing. I think if you're wearing a lounge suit or something, you take out the coat and tuck in your tie and then get into no proper shoes, nothing. Your same dress shoes, you get into that and start running. So it was great fun. So, but you have also those serious types in those occasions. In fact, there used to be, I have named one Mr. Sandhu, of course not his real name, who I think fell at the exact spot twice. And there was one DIG who had taken position, and he wanted to do everything right. So he was positioned as a real sprinter who, with the start, not with the starting. He didn't know how to use the starting block, but almost the same position, stretching his legs backward and all. And in that kind of crowd, if you get into that position, so he couldn't get up in time, and then got lost in the crowd. So
instead of the track, he went and invaded the crowd.
Yes.
And there was one officer who used to win the 100 meters race every year.
Yes.
So
he
when the
he was very good in that 100-meter sprint. So just to see that this doesn't happen, once we, I think, entered into some kind of and said that it should be a 400-meter race because it would go on for a longer time and the fun would be more. So 400 meters, he started in great jest and started in great speed. And immediately after 100 meters, he was off steam, and then he rushed off to the nearest
200 meters, he was he's exhausted, completely exhausted. So how many times did you win this gazetted officers race?
No, I never won. Because it is quite a difficult thing, because falling. I maybe once I got the third prize or something, but never won it.
So mostly you've written about your immediate seniors, whether SP or DIG, but not about top officers like DGP, and not even your juniors. So why is that?
No, it's basically about those with whom you have closely interacted, and in whom you found that that kind of characteristics which could evoke some kind of fun and laughter. I think, plus maybe I think, if I think in retrospect, there were some officers who had not been too nice to me. So you tend to find more flaws in the characters, and which have been projected. So that could be one way. But yes, I could even write a sequel to this. I think you can find funny things almost in every person, and pen it down. So I haven't really attempted. Let the first book sever in, and then I'll think of what to do next.
In fact, at one point of time, you have also made fun of yourself, commenting on your complexion at the end. So how much of your funny?
I think the best comedy is if you laugh at yourself. I think that is one characteristics. If you develop, then you will never be sad. So there are very few people who can laugh at themselves. So in fact, that incident really happened in Delhi. So that man was so engrossed in watching the monkey, and suddenly I appeared from the back. So he was really alarmed, and
Langur.
You must have seen them. I think there are plenty
Yeah,
of
of
them in
course.
that area. Yeah.
The one funny question, if I ask,
Yeah.
if not a cop, what would you have been your alternative profession? A stand-up artist?
No, stand-up artist. I think nobody knew of what a stand-up artist was when we were growing up. I think the employment options were very, very limited. Either you got into bank or you got into the civil services, or you started teaching. In fact, I was teaching before I got into the police. I had got a good job in the postgraduate teaching classes in the Utkal University. So maybe I would have continued with that. And
And so my last question to you is, why
yeah,
are you getting the book released in Delhi Police Headquarters, not
yeah,
Odisha
that will be
CRPF?
on 11th. Acha, why? Acha.
Yeah,
Um,
while you were DGP Odisha and you were teaching
yeah,
CRPF, still you
yeah.
choose Delhi
We
Police.
wanted a bigger auditorium. I think the new Delhi Police Headquarters are a proper auditorium. So I requested the Commissioner of Police, and he was kind enough to agree to let me use that. So since I have invited a lot of my colleagues, friends, and yeah, so that would be a more central and a better place. So that's why I thought of it.
Right,
In fact, a lot of CRP officers will be also coming there.
sure.
Yeah.
So we'll stop this conversation for a while,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
We'll continue this interview in the second episode, wherein we will talk to you about your professional career.
Right.
So
Right.
thank you for
Okay.
talking to Indian Masterminds.